We are going across the country right now. We're going to go to Houston, Texas. Joining the conversation is Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Good morning, Congresswoman. How are you?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm trying to make sure I can be seen a little bit better, but hopefully you can see me somewhat.
We can see you and we could hear you.
Okay.
All right, good. Okay.
Yeah, give me a moment, just one moment.
Thanks for joining the conversation, Congresswoman. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can. Thank you.
Congresswoman, this is a life-changing election, and Texas is a crucial state. The 2020 campaign could be the first time Democrats captured Texas in the presidential election since 1976. Congresswoman, can you talk us through how important turning Texas from a red state to a blue state is?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so very much for having me. I know this is a powerfully instructive session that you have been having every week, Mr. Giddings. I cannot start without paying tribute to my fellow Caribbean sister, Caribbean, whatever your choice. And that is, of course, the Honorable Yvette Clarke. We have worked together from the time she's come to the United States Congress. Her vital role in our mutual fight of providing dignity to our immigrant community. And of course, always talking about the great state of Brooklyn, while I talk about the great state of Texas. And our families have been friends for many, many years as well. So let me give her greetings. She is an outstanding legislator here in the United States Congress, an outstanding leader. I appreciate her, and if I might say, love her dearly. We are on the verge in the state of Texas, by the way, with a very sizable population constituency, my brothers and sisters from the Caribbean. They come from all over, and they are truly planted in the seeding of this great city. And we see each other a lot. I'll just make note of the fact that the young brother who refused to cut his dreadlocks, you might have seen him nationally, lives here in Texas, and he won his federal court case, and he's been the basis for us passing the Crown Act. I know I'm going to get to that point of winning in the state of Texas, but the Crown Act is that we pass our Judiciary Committee that you can wear your hair any way you would like, because you have that right as an American.
Absolutely.
But that came out of our community. But in any event, we are on the precipice of being able to push Texas toward being a purple or blue state. We used to have something called straight ticket voting, where you could go in, punch one spot, one hole, one X, and vote the entire Democratic ticket. Our Republican friends knew that a good way to suppress votes for the elderly, the disabled, minority populations was to get rid of that. So now we have very long ballots, and we have to now vote the entire ticket, one by one by one. Not sure if that is in New York, but in any event, for us, it's a big change. So we're getting ready to get geared up for our Get Out to Vote. We believe that Kamala Harris has brought a new infusion of energy. She's obviously excited all of our sorority and fraternity brothers and sisters, and she is particularly excited Alpha Kappa Alpha. They raised $20 million in her name. And so we're expecting some visits from all of us who've been called upon to be surrogates, but we think that we can elect a Democratic state house and state senate, and we think that we can elect, of course, state persons in the district, in the state. And let me just close by saying, when Beto O'Rourke ran in 2018, he just barely lost. We won all of our cities: Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston, Austin, and even in the Valley. So we're ready to go. Anyone wants to come down from New York and help us, we'll come on down. By the way, let me thank the New Yorkers who came down and helped us get tested. Some of your great leaders, Governor Como sent them down, nurses, others. We are so grateful to you. Thank you and God bless for all the help you gave us. And we were glad to be there for you as well.
Congresswoman, please don't leave us yet. We have a lot of listeners in Houston, Texas. We even have a few of our friends on the panel. Jeff, are you there?
I am here, JR. Good morning.
Morning.
We have the Congresswoman here, and we're talking about turning that red state into a blue state. You know, I think the Congresswoman should know that you're one of the forces behind turning that state blue. So it's important to me to create this dialogue.
Well, great.
Yeah,
I'm looking for fellow travelers.
Jeff is in Houston. Jeff, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, so would you like to tell the Congresswoman anything? I mean, let's talk about turning the state blue.
I'm just excited that to see all the things that are going on. These movements to get the vote out, to get people registered. Texas has traditionally been a low voter turnout state, and it's just exciting to see that we are going to remedy that problem. And even I noticed an editorial in the Houston Chronicle here recently from a West Point graduate, a veteran of several wars, a lifelong Republican that is come out and given permission to Republicans to vote Democratic, that in his view, what this administration is an attack on our nation. And we need to remedy that problem right now, and has come out strong for the people of Texas and the Houston area to vote for the Biden-Harris ticket. So the winds of change are blowing, and thank you to Congressman Lee for all of her leadership in making that happen.
If I might follow up, thank you for that. I'm glad you pointedly spoke about some of our Achilles heels. We have a young population, we have a very diverse population, and some of our population, as would be in a great state like New York, are one language, have not yet become bilingual, but they are citizens. And so we have to work real hard. But you really touched on something, because if there's any pride in our state, it is of the extensiveness of the men and women who served in the United States military and how many veterans we have. As you well know, we've had a number of tragedies at Fort Hood. We have rallied around to fix that and to ensure that Fort Hood has the dignity and treatment of our soldiers the way it should. But when you call the men and women, some of whom family members have buried them in the veteran cemetery that I represent, and I've gone to many funerals there, and every one of them are emotional because we know this person put on the uniform. I always use the terms unselfishly. And to hear a commander-in-chief, I hesitate to even use that terminology, say that they are suckers and losers. These are messages that we need to get into the DNA of voters, so that West Point graduate understands that the person that they should be voting for is worthy of the title of commander-in-chief. At the same time, they need to understand the hotspots that have been all over the nation, and we saw our share of grief with COVID-19. We are still technically a hotspot, and for this president to stand in the way of passing the HEROES Act when people are dying, it is important to say 1,000 people a day as we sit here are dying from COVID-19. We can't even compare this to the flu anymore. He can't make that kind of light comment, that kind of disrespectful comment. It's like the flu, it'll puff away, it'll get better in the heat. We're 1,000 people a day. So we're using all of that in our messaging to say that the title of commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, must be immediately lifted, removed from the present holder. In fact, Joe Biden said, step down because you're not worthy of this. If we get this into the populations of Texas, my Latinx brothers and sisters, patriotic, contributing members of society, seeing their loved ones devastated by COVID-19. And what has their president done? Absolutely nothing. So we're going to use some of these messages to wake people up. And we're also going to use barriers against Russian bots that are going to try and skew the messaging coming forward. So we're very serious. Your help, your involvement, leadership is much appreciated to turn this community, this state blue. Forgive me, I'm passionate about it. I want it to happen for sure.
No apologies needed.
Congresswoman, we're all passionate. We're all passionate about this. We're all passionate about the Biden-Harris ticket. Can you brief our audience on the stalemate with the coronavirus relief bill?